We've always had room in our hearts for film and TV, not just on Netflix, but tape and disc in theaters. Also, God forbid that they take it all away and leave us nothing to broadcast to loyal listeners. We'll binge watch every single movie, so you don't have to. What else are we here for? Coming to you every week. Listen to us while you're busy. Luckily, we forgot to grow up. Hey everybody, it's Craig.
Hey, it's Scott.
Hey, it's Andrew.
Welcome to episode number 20 of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast. I know, if you're listening to this, you can't believe you've made it this far, and we'll be honest, neither can we. On this week's episode, we're going to go into another one of our ever popular creative segments. We're going to talk about our pitches for sports movies. So we'll get into that in a second. But first, as we promised, we are going to introduce our special guest for this episode. He had absolutely no input in terms of what segment we were going to do this week, which is exactly opposite of everything we've ever wanted. So, Mike, tell us about yourself.
Hey guys, how you doing? Again, like you said, I'm Mike. Just want to say a couple of my favorite movies. I love the Austin Powers trilogy. Favorite
Yeah,
TV show,
baby.
The Office. But yeah, just kind of really like the comedies, things like that.
Okay, Mike, I gotta know, who's your favorite fembot?
Oh God, the one with the who gets all the cigarettes in the mouth and then head starts going crazy.
Can't approve of cigarettes on this podcast, Craig.
Nope.
I mean, Mike.
Craig.
Wow!
I'm not used to having a third person's name in here.
You're not used to disagreeing with anybody else.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. Me and Andrew are usually on the same page. It's usually Craig had to disagree. But Mike, we don't approve of cigarettes on here. Not at all.
Hey, she died.
That's because she smoked. That's what it was.
That's the lesson. You gotta lead off with that next time. That's the lesson of it. She died because of it.
Since we have a very large child audience for this podcast,
Mainly my family.
That's not true at all.
which is way less creepy than it sounds, we're going to say that we disagree with cigarettes. And I'm sure we'll find out more about what Mike actually enjoys as we go over this, because the creative segment really tends to bring out the worst in people. And then we're going to cap the whole episode off with our ever popular, much like the creative segments, WWWTW, or What We Watched This Week. And this week, let me tell you, it's going to be a doozy. That's a promise. That is a promise. We didn't watch a lot, but oh boy, are there ever stories. So, again, 2 weeks in a row, maybe 3 weeks in a row, I can't remember. I'm going to get us started with our first segment, only because I really like the title. I've been waiting for us to do this segment ever since we came up with it. So we've entitled this, Hey Listen Hollywood, Third and Long Edition, or as I like to call it, Third and Howie Long Edition.
Puns.
And none of our pitches will involve Terry Bradshaw in the shower.
Thank goodness.
I don't understand that reference.
Did you watch Big Mouth?
I did. Mostly.
There's the part where Andrew searches gay porn on his computer, and then his dad it infects all the computers.
He gets a virus.
Yeah, and his dad's like, "Why is Howie Long in the shower? And why does Shannon Sharp want to join him?" I know what you're talking about, Craig.
It's only been it's been a bit since I watched it. I forgot.
And right before that, he says that there's 3 people in the world that he actually likes. Andrew's
Terry
mother,
Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw, and his cousin, and that's it.
I'll just
now
have
that
to
we've
rewatch
talked
the
about
show.
Big Mouth,
Yeah.
who wants to start with their?
I will take over because you mentioned Howie Long, who was a fabled Oakland Raider. I'm going to come in with my first movie pitch. I just call it Oakland. That's what the name of the movie is. And it's about the mass rioting that will occur the day that the Raiders pull out of Oakland and head towards Vegas.
Okay, that's a different style of sports movie. I like it. Go on.
That's different.
A real dark sports movie. Not entirely about the sport.
Yeah, I was gonna
more
say
about
almost nothing to do. Do we see any of the sport in it, or do we see?
Yeah. You'll see
football?
Khalil Mack trying to calm people down, and then it'll be like BMS. They'll just grab him and drag him into the swarm of nothingness.
So is this like a?
It's kind of that movie Miracle. No football happens until the end. He makes the team and
no. This one it'll show you one snap. It'll be the final snap of whatever season it is before they take off. One snap, and they'll say, "That'll do it for us here, folks." And then Oakland will be like, maybe they won't leave. Maybe they won't leave. And then guess what? They leave. They head towards Vegas. And I'm calling the movie Oakland.
Okay.
How do you guys feel about it?
I don't think I'd see it.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing. I'm like, I'm sorry, I probably wouldn't watch it.
What if
looks like
what if Ted Danson was the coach?
Maybe, but it see in my head I see it as Disney making it.
Okay.
I don't think
You
I
don't
would
remember the
enjoy
Titans
that.
route like thoughts, I think, right, Craig?
Yeah,
I think it's like a
around
Disney
there.
football movie.
It seems like
Man,
maybe-
you don't like Remember the
know-
Titans?
I know that. Oh, let's not get into that again.
What? Come on, man.
We had a bad sports episode not too long ago, and you guys hated on me for
It's a classic.
liking anything.
Fair enough.
That's mostly what this podcast is about.
It's usually me going, "What the hell?" and you guys going, "What the hell?"
How did you not see that, Craig?
Fair enough. So I'll move on to my next movie, which is it's Vegas. It's about Vegas, which is kind of a segue from Oakland moving to Vegas. This one I'm calling Ocean's 20.
Okay.
It's the Ocean's gang. They have to join the Vegas Golden Knights to try to take down Las Vegas, take down all the casinos, betting for them, and everything like that.
That's topical. I like that.
Man, I would pay 4 times to see that movie, and then I would buy the deluxe edition, just because I friggin' love those movies.
But is Ted Danson in it?
He could be.
He
could be.
21.
I know we haven't made that a rule yet.
Not for this
Okay.
second time around.
Here's what I'm thinking: Ted Danson, he can be the commissioner of the NHL.
So not Gilbert Gottfried.
Not Gilbert
You want him-
Gottfried. He's the commish.
Right.
Ted Danson's the commissioner.
Oh,
So you want him to be the Gary Bettman character, except the direct opposite of everything that Gary Bettman is.
Exactly. So I've got Danny and Rusty. So George Clooney and Brad Pitt. They're the coaches, and then I've got Matt Damon as Linus, and he plays the goalie. And the scene that I can clearly see in my mind's eye. In my mind's eye, I can see Danny and Rusty being like, "Oh, it's time to let Linus practice his goaltending." Everyone just takes slap shots at him, and then Linus just sits there and gets pucks bouncing off his head everywhere, and he's just panicking because he doesn't know what to do.
I don't know if
Is
Matt
that-
Damon would put up with that anymore.
That seems like a total Linus move, though, in the movie.
Yeah,
and like
but
in the
but Matt Damon's
franchise.
like a big star now. Like he was a semi-star when they did that.
Yeah, but they still treated him like the kid of the group. Like he was capable.
I know.
He was
But
Danny's understudy, but he was
saying that
capable of doing everything.
At this point in his career, do you think he'd still be willing to be treated that way on set? Because he's also got more of a pull.
he's been in.
I don't know.
He's been in like one movie in the past decade.
That's not true.
100% true at all.
That's false, man.
Like, he did like The Martian.
Dude, he was
Mike-
in Thor Ragnarok,
He was
bro.
in the
Mike,
Great
we're
Wall
not super
one,
big on lies here. That's 2 strikes. You're not
That
going to
is
make
you.
it very far.
Yeah. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna change it a bit. He's gonna get the slap shots at him, and then once he's done, he's gonna go talk to Danny and Rusty about how they're being dicks, and he's gonna drink water out of his Stella Artois glass, which you can buy for $5, and $1 goes towards getting water to the countries in Africa that can't get it.
See, that I think would be something he'd be willing to trade.
There we
Like,
go.
that's what I'm saying. That makes sense. Like he
You
gets
got-
a
you
little
gotta-
bit of
you gotta
his
give a little
charity
to take a
work
little.
in. He probably gets to charge for that.
It helps his organization.
It helps everybody.
Okay, so moving on to my next one.
Okay.
I call this one 108 or
Man,
or
we're supposed to have
108.
titles?
I have titles.
Yeah, I
So-
got one title.
So this one's called 108 or 108, and it's a comedy about the Cubs going 108 years in between World Series.
A comedy.
It's a
are we
comedy.
Are we talking like a major league style comedy?
We're talking about it gets to it's the year 2016. They're winning the World Series. They make it to the playoffs. The world is great, and they all kind of realize it's been 108 years. We got to cheat. We're going to cheat our asses off. So they do everything in their power, buying people off, using anything
No,
to be able to cheat and win. Yep.
Man,
Can we use the players in the movie?
Yes.
Yes. Then I'm on board.
It'll be 100% the team, and then maybe the ball boys will be the ones who cheat for them.
But what you should do is have like especially the bigger stars that were on that team, have them cast in other roles.
Play each
Like
other.
not as the players.
Play like an umpire, or play a guy in the stands like bitching about the Cubs.
Yeah.
Like it's been 108 years since the last time.
Have like Chris Bryant be the concession stand guy.
Yes, and he's just making a mess, dumping popcorn and beer everywhere.
Yep.
Just sneaking hot dogs whenever he can.
Nice picture like Billy Bob Thornton coming in from Bad News
No
Bears
Billy Bob,
remake.
man. No.
The bad remake.
No Billy
but
Bob.
Still.
Not in my movie. Not in my movie.
Do you think that it's the Cubs, right? Do you think they'd be okay with you making this movie?
I hope so.
Rename the team.
Okay, here's the thing though. I'm a Cubs fan. I didn't spend 108 years hoping they would win, but I spent my whole life hoping they'd win. So I feel like they just owe the fans an opportunity to laugh about it.
Yeah.
Okay, just so we can avoid a lawsuit when this eventually gets picked up, let's make it a AAA team
That's called the
that
Rubs.
hasn't.
I am not making a movie called The Rubs. That's a little too far for me.
No, the team's called the Rubs.
Ugh.
The Grubs.
We can call them like the Bears or the Chicken Hawks or something ridiculous like that. It's a AAA team, so it doesn't have to be like.
No,
something
it's
awesome.
got to be the Cubs. It's got to be the Cubs.
I don't think that movie's gonna get made just because of the lawsuit that'll come. I don't think they'll find it that funny. I don't think they'll take it like the Cleveland Indians took it when Major League was made.
Yeah, but Major League, they won. And they didn't win by cheating. They won because they were awesome. Like
They won in the
terrible.
regular season by playing like themselves. They just decided they had to win.
that's the part
In
I'm
the
saying
playoffs by
that
cheating.
they're gonna have a problem with.
You
Nah.
need to make you need to have it like a AAA team.
It's like a joke, like the commish. Okay, it's all about Tom Brady Deflategate, the commish,
Yeah,
right?
but that was a thing that happened. This is an implication.
Well,
This-
we'll
this
get
is
them all
two
to agree to
entirely
it.
different thing. Okay.
Well, that's what
if
we're
they
saying. You have to, like,
if they
we're
s-
asking you.
Yeah,
if
it's
they
not
all
just going to
agree
be
it.
made. We can make it happen.
If they sign off on it, then I'm on board.
Okay.
As long as the legal passes on it, then I'm okay with
Yeah,
it.
then
Okay.
I'm okay with it as long as we have the players not playing themselves.
Exactly.
They can play
Mike,
other people.
Mike, you're on my side, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So from
Man,
that,
I feel
I'll,
like
was
I'm
way
not
too
the one that's
agreeable,
not
Mike.
talking enough anymore.
yeah. From that, I'll move on to my next one. I got two left.
Oh man.
My next one, I got Jay Cutler, the musical.
The musical?
The musical. He's going to
Are
be
you
played.
gonna
One
include-
Bears one in
are you-
there.
The
Are
bare
you gonna include
necessity.
his career after
the
the
bare
Bears?
necessity.
He's going to be played by Luke Bryan, because if you Google those fucks,
Yeah,
they
they're
look
identical.
very similar.
Has Luke Bryan ever acted in anything?
Yeah, he plays Jay Cutler in Jay Cutler the musical.
Right, I
His
forgot.
career?
How could I not know?
The musical, the movie, right?
Exactly. Jay Cutler the musical, the movie. He'll be singing bare necessities while he's taking the snap. He'll be walking around with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, doing interviews like the meme, the mame. That's my whole premise. Is I just want to see. I love Jay Cutler. Everyone knows this. I want to see a movie around him, but it's got to be a musical. It's got to be Luke Bryan playing him.
Luke Bryan's never been not himself in anything. He
Well,
played himself on Nashville, and that's it.
There's a first time for everything. Luke, if you're listening to this, I've seen your concerts a couple of times. You friggin' owe me. Play Jay Cutler, please.
I don't know if that means he owes you.
I paid him like a couple bucks.
A couple.
It's more than he's paid me.
That's true. That's very true.
Did you pay more for your Shania tickets or for him?
For him.
Okay.
Andrew, do you have one last movie? I thought you.
I
said?
got one last one. I think Craig will like this.
Oh,
I called it Argo ing Nowhere. It's about the 1971 Argos team with Joe Theismann at the helm.
Does he at least at one point like do we do flashbacks and flash forwards?
We do flash forwards.
Can we flash forward to Joe Theismann like present day?
Yes.
Every once
Can
in
you
a
guys
while.
give a little context for our listeners who aren't
Okay.
Canadian?
Joe
one-
Theismann broke his leg.
That's not the context I was saying. First of all,
Then
then
Taylor
his other
messed it
who
leg.
up.
are the Argos for our American listeners who don't care about
The
CFL?
Toronto Argonauts, the
They're a
CFL
football
team.
The Argos are a football team in the best professional
1971
football league in the world.
In 1971, Joe Theismann, beloved Super Bowl, I think he was Super Bowl MVP. Anyway, Super Bowl
Let me look it up.
winning quarterback for the Washington Redskins, played in the Grey Cup team in 1971 for the Toronto Argonauts, and they friggin' lost. They were the best team in the league that year, apparently. They were destined to win, and they did not. Joe Theismann choked. They lost the game. I'm pretty sure he got yanked in that game, actually, now that I think of it.
And if you want to
you wanna make
know
this movie.
anything else about Joe Theismann, either watch a couple episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah. Oh, my other leg!
My other leg! Yeah, or just go on YouTube and look up Lawrence Taylor, Joe Theismann, and then have your dreams haunted for the rest of your life.
Or watch the first 30 seconds of The Blind Side.
Just awful.
Anyways,
All these don't make any sense to me.
the reason I came up with this movie idea is because A, it's the third and long edition,
Yeah.
so it has to be a sports movie. Number two, it just made me laugh thinking about Joe Theismann playing for the Argos myself, because Craig and I were at Iggy's in the bar in Font Hill one time, many moons ago. And I think it was right before the Grey Cup, and we just happened to like look up and see the TV, and we're like, "Is that fucking Joe Theismann?" And guess what? It was Joe
It was Joe
Theismann.
Theismann.
Ever since then, anytime Craig and I send a picture to each other over text, we have to hit each other with a secret code to let us know that we're sending the picture.
I don't think it's a
Theismann.
secret anymore.
Theismann is that secret
Secrets
code.
out.
Secret's out.
You're saying
We're
a
ver-
new code.
We're a very open podcast.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So those are my movie pitches. I think I liked my names better than I liked some of the pitches, because our
Some of them
going
were really
nowhere
weak.
is great.
Our going nowhere is
I feel
is
like
really
that's
good.
half of why you came up with some of these. Is I feel like you had the titles first, and then you're like, oh, okay, I need a movie for the rest of this.
Yeah, man. I live for puns.
and and that's why we love you. No.
I hope that's not the only reason.
Oh yeah, and you cut our hair.
There we go. There we go.
Once in
when
a
I
while.
make it there. Anyways,
Okay, so those are mine. Scott, what do you have?
I've got a few. I only did 3 because, well, I wasn't being very ambitious this week, to be honest.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, no, and I just trying to come up with sports movies. I felt like everything, like, I wanted to come up with something that wasn't like exactly the same as every other sports movie, which is very underdog-y,
Hard.
kind of cliche about like one of 4 or 5 sports. So I was like, okay, let's do something a little different.
Did you do Donovan McNabb the musical?
No, I
Where he's
didn't.
getting played by Forrest Whitaker?
No,
No,
but I did.
no,
I hope so. I hope someone did.
no. Mine's first
Montel
one's
Williams?
semi-football related. It's called the E touchdown. Okay. So my first one's called the E touchdown. It's about this hotshot, up-and-coming college football player who ends up having like a career-ending injury during like his like playoff game or something.
Okay.
And so what he does to like kind of like he's first down and out as all athletes are in all movies and yada yada. But then he discovers the world of eSports because that's a big thing now. We gotta-
Just to correct you mean he's fourth down and out?
I like it. Sure. Yeah.
That was a football pun.
Third down and out.
He's
Third down and
CFL
out.
fun.
Turnover on downs.
Yeah, so he's out on his luck, but he discovers esports so that he can like kind of transfer his knowledge of football to playing Madden through esports, and he joins a tournament and stuff, and he ends up being good, and it's a whole thing through that. That's as far as I went through coming up with the plot, to be honest.
Okay, can I make a few adjustments?
Bring it on. That's why I come up
Okay,
with short ideas.
we take our idea from, I believe it was last week, with the Batman VR goggles,
Yeah.
and we transfer it into E touchdown, which is it makes you believe that you're a professional athlete, and it sucks you in, and then you die, and everyone's like, "What's going on?" And you put it on, and then you keep becoming Tom Brady and dying. Because Tom Brady's secretly sucking the souls out of everyone who plays the game using this VR
I
headset.
don't quite understand how that's my
Yeah.
movie. Except for
It's
the
my
fact
movie
that-
now. I just took over. Yeah, it used to be yours. It's mine now,
Indirectly,
Playboy.
So you adopted my screenplay, is what you mean?
Yeah, I just really want to see the evil VR
I'm
headset.
very cool
That's
with
all
that.
I
You know
want to
what?
see.
As long as you pay me for what I did, I'm cool with
Yeah, of
that.
course,
You don't
man.
have to
This
use
is
my
your
idea.
It's your idea. We're buying the idea. The studio and I are buying your idea, and we're gonna turn it into
It's funny that you
touchdown.
say the studio and you, when really it's just the studio.
No, I'm part of it. I'm gonna kick in my $10.
$10?
Yeah, I'm a
It's
producer.
only like a $200 idea, right?
Yeah,
Ouch.
Straight
guys.
to TV.
Ouch.
I'm a producer.
Esports is the most up and coming and fast growing sport.
We're gonna put it on Amazon TV. Don't
I
worry
was just
about
trying
it.
to come up with something kind of original. And I
No,
thought
I
that
like
was a
it. I
cool
like it.
idea. Yeah.
It's not quite as good as Jay Cutler the musical, but it's close.
Well, if you don't think that is, these next two definitely will not be, because I put even less work into the next two, which
What do we
was
have?
I have 2 Quidditch movies. So I thought, what movie?
Man, why
is
did you lead with that shit? I'm psyched about these Quidditch movies.
Okay, so I went 2 really different routes with the Quidditch movie. I thought you could
Okay.
go like Harry Potter route, where you stick with
Okay.
the Harry Potterness, and it's in the Harry Potter world. And
Or are
it's
you
about
gonna
some-
go with the other one? Sorry, are you gonna go the direction of like college sports, where it's like people playing intramural like
yeah,
fake
that's the
Quidditch?
second version. Yeah, so that's the 2
I want
versions.
that version. I want that version.
Yeah, so the
People
real world
running
version
around
just
with like
that.
paper
yeah.
balls.
Exactly. So like a little bit of that mixed with like kind of a dodgeball type feel, you know, like the
Okay.
movie Dodgeball. That kind of feel was my idea. So kind of
So-
a like comedy based, but like a little bit of a like kind of mockumentary is a good way to think
So
of it.
like the scene from the intern, was it the internship with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, where they're playing Quidditch at Google,
Owen
like
Wilson.
that scene turned into a movie.
Kind of, yeah. Except it's a whole like
Yeah.
league, like in dodgeball. You know how dodgeball is the dodgeball
Yes.
tournament. It's kind of
Yes.
like that, but it's a Quidditch tournament. And it's about this like college, like this team that plays out of college for fun, and then they discover there's this actual big tournament, and they
Okay,
go to
let's
it.
say they're gonna lose their frat house. Let's make that the premise.
I like it. So it's a set of football players who are about to lose
Quidditch,
their frat house,
yes.
and they pick up Quidditch because they hear about this random tournament that has
Just
like
to,
a
that's good. They're
$50,000
gonna
prize.
just enough to buy the house.
Yeah, just enough to like save the house,
Okay.
save the frat house. We're throwing it back to the '90s, save the something, and yeah, so they have to save the record. So they go and learn off of the Harry Potter fans. 'Cause I'm not going to insult them. The Harry Potter fans
Okay.
on campus who
Okay.
teach them about Quidditch and how to play Quidditch, and then they end up bonding with the Harry Potter fans, and. Yeah, then they go to the tournament, and it's very much like dodgeball, but with Quidditch instead. And they,
So
almost
it's-
think they're gonna
so-
lose, but they make it to the end, and they save the frat house. He gets the girl. I don't know where the girl came from, but he gets the girl.
So you know what just happened? We just made
Brought to you
this
by Disney
a
Studios.
three-way Vince Vaughn crossover. We made it the internship, we made it dodgeball, and it's also loosely based around the premise of Old School, where they're trying to save
I guess so,
save
yeah.
the house.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a Vince Vaughn special.
It's a Vince Vaughn
Vis.
special. I don't know why I had so much trouble saying Vince right there, but yeah.
X, when you started
Yeah.
talking about the internship, I was thinking of them playing the Quidditch in the internship, and then switching to the scene
Yeah.
from the Wedding Crashers when he just gets
Yeah,
laid out by
Bradley
the
Cooper just
brother-in-law.
knocks him the hell out.
It just cuts from that movie to the next movie, and then
Bradley
goes
Cooper
back.
in The Wedding Crashers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a very forgettable character. Just ask Stewie and Brian.
Well, no, I
I
remember
can't
his
see-
character. I didn't
yeah.
remember it was him until you mentioned it.
I can't picture Bradley Cooper in anything but Wet Hot American Summer. So that's where I am. on
Now, is
Bradley
it
Cooper.
before or
That's
after he
gotta
gets his surgery?
Before the
Before-
deviated
before the
septum's
deviated
corrected,
septum.
Yeah.
It was a
'cause then
medical issue.
afterwards, He looks way too close to Adam Scott. Like you could almost
Yeah.
think that they were the same person.
Yeah. Well, it was a medical condition.
It was.
So now that we've just came up with the perfect movie, Scott, what else do you have?
Well, the other Quidditch movie I had was just like an actual in the world of Harry Potter one.
Okay.
You pick some like random historic team, or you make up one, and you just kind of follow them, and it's a typical sports movie. Like I said, that idea literally was written down as one sentence. I didn't put much.
I like the other one better, the
Yeah, I
old
thought the
school
real
Quidditch.
I thought the other one was a little bit more, be a little funnier and like. a
Yeah,
little
it would be a lot
original.
more entertaining.
We haven't had a dodgeball-esque like sports comedy, I don't think, in a while. Not one that's been as good as dodgeball, in my opinion.
I don't think so, no.
But yeah, That's all. I kind of had one more idea, but it's not really good at all. So we'll just move on.
Say it on the podcast. Say it on the
There's
podcast.
no such thing as not good enough. Let's go.
Okay, since I didn't take too long, the last one was just ultimate frisbee was the idea. Was the sport?
Yeah, you should have left that one dead, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad that was one of my ideas before, and then I scratched
Okay, well
it.
that's
Like,
why we're
no,
taking
no
it
ultimate
out,
frisbee.
and we're gonna go to Mike telling us about his ultimate frisbee idea.
Yes.
No,
Mike,
I didn't.
tell us about your movies. Tell us
All
about
right,
one of
I
your
didn't go with
sports
ultimate
movies.
frisbee, but I came up with
Okay.
2, and like I said,
Okay.
I'm going with comedies.
Okay.
Well, first off, I was gonna say I'm glad you guys came up with sports pitch movies. I thought this whole segment was gonna be on me, and
Oh.
I was like, I've got like
Oh, you
a
you
minute.
thought we were gonna let you do it, and then we
You
were
do
gonna
the
just talk about.
entire thing?
Yeah,
We're
I'm
not
like
that
sitting here
lazy.
trying to come up
Mike,
with
have
stuff.
you even
like,
listened to the podcast?
We
All
should,
we
I
do
just
is
I was
talk.
afraid.
maybe next time we have you on, we'll just do that to you, just drop it on you. Okay, Mike,
I
you've
was
got
stressing.
45 minutes. Start.
So the first one I was kind of coming up with was Scott kind of went on it with the esports, but I wanted to do something with esports, but I wanted to keep it in the video game kind of tournament, you know, like the trailers you see at the movie theaters.
For sure.
Okay, yeah.
I always kind of laugh at those, so I'm like, okay, well, this would be cool. So I wanted to be like Seth Rogen and crew, so James Franco, Chris Robinson, I think, or
Craig Robinson.
Craig Robinson, yeah, and just that whole crew from This Is the End.
Yeah.
Kind of
Okay.
just want them doing their whole
Jay-
kind of the same
Jay
thing. I didn't
Baruchel.
know why they were in the tournament, but I wanted them to, for some reason, have to win the $50,000 prize. Maybe they're not famous anymore.
Maybe they just get super baked, and they're like, we could do that.
Yeah,
And it turns out they can't.
So,
They lost a bet.
Yeah.
They lost a
Yeah.
bet.
pretty much.
Or
I
they-
didn't decide what video game it was, so I figured you guys might want to put in what kind of game.
Let's make this the sequel to Pineapple Express.
Okay.
This is them. They have to get more money for whatever reason. They have to pay back some crime lord. They got to make the money for it. They got to pay back Danny McBride or whatever. So they join they join this to try to win the money, and then they get near the end and they're like, we're not going to win at all unless we're super baked. And then they do like a 4-minute montage of them just getting ripped like they did in This Is the End, where they take all the drugs and then they just kick ass at NHL 2018.
But
There's
then
got to be a
it's tragic.
slow-mo scene where they
Yeah.
walk out to MIA's paper planes, like in the first one.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
got to be, or the movie won't make it.
But it also has a tragic ending because they end up getting drug tested and failing. And,
Yeah, and they don't win the money.
not getting the money. So yeah, and then that's a little like segue into, or like a cliffhanger into maybe making another one.
That works for me.
I like it.
Man, we have good movie ideas. At least to us. To me, anyways. I think we have good movies ideas. What else do you got? You have one more.
So the other one was Rachel kind of helped me on this one, but it
Oh,
was
cheater.
Hey.
All the rest of us
Yes.
come up with it on their own.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I was kind of like,
true at
remember the movie She's the Man? Kind of like a
Yeah.
She's the Man role reversal. So I wanted to
He's
be...
the woman?
I didn't go with the title.
What is it
That's
going to be?
Joanna
Is it
Man.
going to be...
It's
what's
Joanna
his
Man.
name? Oh, I'm drawing a blank.
Do you know what Joanna
Jenner.
Man is? Yeah.
Oh, what's his
Let's
name?
not go that way.
What's her name? Caitlyn Jenner, where she
Caitlyn?
goes back to being an Olympic athlete?
Close.
Competing
but,
the women's decathlon.
Yes.
So I wanted to be someone like... I wanted to be a basketball movie this time, not
We're
soccer.
talking Joanna Man. This is a movie. I've said Joanna Man 15 times.
I've
Joanna
never heard
Man
of it.
is
Who's
about
in that movie?
an African American actor. He's a small-known comedian guy. I don't really.
Is it Kevin
remember.
Hart?
No, it's not because he's tall.
Is it Lawrence...
Hart.
not Lawrence Fishburne. Martin
He
Lawrence.
looks similar to Orlando Jones, but he's not Orlando Jones. I know that, but he looks very similar to him. With they have both kind of that same kind of like beady. I don't want to say beady eyes, but their eyes they got big eyes. They're like sticking out. You know what I mean? Anyways, look up Joanna Man, one of you guys. Joanna Man is
Auto.
about this guy who played for the
It's
NBA,
Miguel,
and then he gets kicked out because he's got attitude problems. And
Miguel Nunez Jr. is his name.
yeah, see that? You expect me to remember that name?
Jeez, he's
Will
54.
Smith. That's what your name needs to be, okay? Like, Will Smith's actual name is Willard. He shortened that to Will. To
That's because
help us all
Willard
out.
is an uncommon
Not a
name.
good name. Everyone assumes he's William. Not true. But anyways, the point is, Mike, you stole Joanna Man.
Well, the movie's probably older
Not
than me.
true.
2002, Mike.
Not true, Mike. I was gonna say I don't
Okay,
watch.
well, I was 7.
Holy shit! I just gotta say the guy Miguel A. Nunez Jr. He's in an episode of BMS. I think it's definitely season 1 because Craig Shiloh, the guy from Smallville,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, he was in it, and it was the episode where the tranny wants to blow him in order to like keep his silence for like the QB that was Stephen Amell. That was the Stephen Amell episode we talked about.
Okay.
It's a callback because the tranny was fooling around with him in the car. The tranny was Miguel A. Nunez Jr.
Okay. All right.
So this is 2 times he pretends to be a woman.
That's weird. That's he's been typecast clearly. Anyways, Mike,
Clearly.
Mike,
We're not gonna go over pretending
Yeah.
to be a woman in tranny, okay? We're just gonna gloss right over that.
Anyways, Mike, tell us about your idea. If it's exactly the same as Joanna Man, I'm gonna claim
Well-
plagiarism.
it was more university level.
University level. That's a good start.
Yes.
Yeah,
Knock her
so I
down. It's like
wanted
my
to be-
Cubs movie getting knocked down.
Wanted to be someone's sister who had a basketball scholarship to a university, but she may had a dumb move, going to some kind of party, did something, and broke her leg. So she needs someone to replace her. So she gets her brother, who's going to be Michael Cera. I just want him to make.
Oh my God.
He's funny.
Michael Cera with or without semi-creepy mustache, it's always there.
Well, maybe semi creepy in the beginning, but if he's dressing like a girl, he's got to get rid
Can
of
he
it.
pretend like he's Scott Pilgrim in the movie?
Can
Like
I
treat-
just add, and this is entirely off track, but Mike said Michael Cera, and then it occurred to me that right now Mike sounds a whole lot like Michael Cera in my ears. So there's all of that.
a little bit?
Do
yeah.
with that what you will, Mike.
I'll just dub the whole movie.
There you go.
There we go.
We don't even need to pay him.
There we go. Way to start your Hollywood career. I like it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I was gonna say that he has some kind of basketball skills, but he has to be the one to go in and kind of replace her until
Her legs healed.
Her legs healed, so she doesn't lose her scholarship.
Okay, that's kind
Yeah.
of nice. It's nice. It's a nice idea, except I feel like it's too much like Joanna Man.
No, I don't know. I think it's far enough apart.
Yeah, no, it's got a slightly
Because
different premise.
it's got
He's
more
got
of
more
a
s-
family premise.
Yeah, it's got more of a family premise. Joanna Man was very selfish.
Yes.
He only cared about himself, and he called himself something.
That sounds just like his character in BMS.
But yeah, those are my
All
two.
right, thank you, Mike. Those were okay. I probably
Those-
wouldn't see either of them, to be honest. That's all right. I probably wouldn't see either of mine either. I'm not, but Craig, why don't you try and convince me of a sports movie that we've pitched that I would want to
All
see?
right. All right, Scott. So, for those of you who've been following the podcast long enough, you know that I dreamed this up almost entirely right before we started to record, and probably added details while we were recording. That's not entirely true this week because Andrew and I did discuss this lovely premise
The other
and
day.
It's exactly. It's going to be a team effort to really flesh out the details so we can keep adding the humor to it. But I'll give you the kind of the framework for it. So obviously, I want to make a movie with Ted Danson in it.
Of course, that's an unwritten
Okay.
rule. It actually may be a written rule at this
It
point.
was one of our rules at one point. I also want to cast Jeff Bridges as he currently is. So this is not a time travel. Like I don't want to go back to when either Ted Danson or Jeff Bridges were younger men.
We want old men Ted Danson and Jeff Bridges.
I want to make a movie starring Ted Danson and Jeff Bridges. And I want this movie to appear like it's trying to be serious, when in reality it isn't, and it's entirely about two curlers from small town Alberta.
I like it.
And they like trying to make it big.
They're competing against each other.
Oh, okay. So just these
Can-
they're just
In
like a small town
in a
rivalry.
regional, yeah. Well, not even a small town rivalry because we'll make the stakes really high. It'll be like a local Briar, but like the winner gets to go on to like the provincial competition to
Represent the
go
town.
to go towards qualifying for the Olympics or whatever you want it to be.
So they
But
can
these
head
two
to Red Deer or go wherever.
Yeah, these two older gentlemen, who neither of which appear Canadian in any sense.
Okay, can the team for Jeff Bridges, can it consist of? Oh, I'm trying to blank on his name. John Goodman and Steve Buscemi.
Absolutely.
Just like the bowling
Steve
team
Buscemi.
in. Oh man, what was the movie with the dude?
The Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski, just like that, but they're a curling team. And I want Steve Buscemi to be the skip for that team, but I want Jeff Bridges' name to be Skip, just so they can do a little joke somewhere in there. Or okay, let's reverse that. Jeff Bridges can be the skip, but
I'm
Steve
the
Buscemi's
Skip.
name is Skip.
You're
Yeah. Hey, good job, Skip. Oh, thanks. Shut up, Skip. He was talking to me. And then he can whip his shoe or his broom or something at Steve Buscemi, and then Steve Buscemi can eat shit.
See? How does this not seem like an excellent idea? By the way, it's entitled Sweeps.
Sweepskate.
I feel like that's already a B movie about curling.
I love it. Like I love this concept.
No, I
It's
just meant
almost
the
as-
name. I just meant the name. I feel like it's
Sweeps.
already taken.
All right.
And
We can call it
it's a
some- we
little
can call it
too
something else.
on the ball for a curling.
We call it hard.
Like why don't you have ice on the or rocks on the ice?
hard. People might get hard mixed up with milk.
We could do pebbled.
Pebbled.
Oh God.
Oh no. Well, you can go back to sweeps. I was just saying it might have been taken.
Okay, I'm Googling. Nope. Oh, Sweep was a 2015 movie. The Sweeps.
what?
No sweeps.
About what?
3 men meet in a strange chance encounter at a local recycling center. A
Yeah,
tense
there's no way that's a
exchange.
curling movie.
Nope. Okay,
don't
and then
know
the
they can team
Sweeps
up.
is a music department. What? The movie The Sweeps. Okay, it's a music department, so no one cares. So we can do Sweeps. It's good.
Awesome.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. And Ted Danson's team will be he's like the lawyer in town, so they're like the really refined ones, and Jeff Bridges are the plucky underdogs.
Of course.
I haven't decided who wins yet.
As long as it has the skip joke in it, I'm happy.
It has to have the skip joke in it.
I say cliffhanger ending. We don't see who wins. You have to decide in your mind.
That works.
Or sequel, one or the other, depending on how much money the studio offers us.
I'm not a huge fan of sequels, so I'm more of a fan of like an Inception ending. You know how he spins the top.
Yeah,
Spoiler
okay,
alert.
I like
if
that.
you haven't seen Inception, then that's too bad for you. He spins the top on the table. You don't know whether it's gonna fall or not.
Yeah.
Have it be like the last shot of the
Yeah, that's
of
what
the
I mean. Yeah,
qualifying
then you
match.
cut it.
And
Okay,
then
here's-
the Rock's like the last guy throws the last stone, and that's it. We don't even get to see it going down the ice.
Here's how it's gonna end. Okay, Steve Buscemi is gonna be looking at his crush, who that's a side plot for the whole movie. He's in love with like the bartender at the local curling club. Her name can be like Irene or whatever.
And
Okay,
she's some Canadian actress.
Yes.
because we're gonna fill the rest of it with.
it can be
with,
Shania. It's gonna be Shania. Okay.
Perfect.
Steve Buscemi sees her like watching in the stands, and he becomes aroused. And then so Jeff Bridges is gonna throw the rock, and he's just gonna be like hard, and then they're gonna start sweeping, and then it's gonna cut away. That's my ending pitch.
Jesus.
That's an ending. That's definitely an ending.
Because you don't want much after that.
Except maybe you can have
I don't want you to
can
go
have-
on at all after that.
you can have Steve Buscemi either say I know or I didn't think you could see that and then cut.
Exactly. Or he wipes out and falls on it. But I like the I didn't think you could see.
Is everybody still alive over there?
Scott, was there gunshots in Ottawa again?
No, not this time. I think this
Not
time
this
it was
time.
gunshots
Laptop.
in Welland.
No, Mike lives in Burlington now.
Oh, well, it's all the same.
No, I work in Burlington.
Work in Burlington.
Yeah, I'm all over. No, it's
Or
my
work.
charger coming out of the wall.
Come on, man.
Nice.
Technical difficulties.
Professional.
So-
Anyways.
Craig, what other movies do you have?
Oh no, that's it.
That's it.
Oh,
Okay.
That's
nice.
it.
I like it. I like that he kept it really short. 'Cause
Yeah,
now we
keep
can-
keep it
Well,
with
because
one. Keep it
I
strong.
Exactly. Well, that's what I figured. That and I have a lot more to say in what we watched.
That's
this week,
exactly why I was.
Which we're gonna
glad
translate
we all kept it
into.
short.
we might as well just go right into that. So, who wants to go with what they watched this week?
I
first?
want
to hear from Mike
first.
Oh, we're
Oh,
going.
you want to hear from the stories?
Save
Let's
it
go with
for last.
Mike.
Let
Let's
Mike
go with
do
Mike,
first.
then a story. I like that. Or
right,
me,
that's
then
fine.
a story. Anyway,
Well, I mean,
we'll just start with
Sky-
Mike. Let's start with Mike and see where it goes.
Mike, did anybody warn you that you needed to remember what you watched this week? And if
well,
you
considering I've watched 6 Harry Potters, it's not that hard to
hey,
remember.
there you go.
Okay,
Pretty
tell
easy
us
thing.
about it.
There's a lot of dark stuff happening right now, man.
Is there a reason why? Come on, give us a little more context. Is
Are you
it
secretly
forever?
writing a Quidditch movie and you're doing research?
Are you
You
hyped
can't
for
rip
the
us
next
off, man.
movie? Did you?
This
are
is
you trying to
our
beat me to my
intellectual
Quidditch
property.
idea?
Well, I do want to see the new one coming out, but no, Rachel hadn't seen them in a while, so I just wanted to crush all 8 again.
Well, you know what they say: happy wife, you get to keep all your shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
I guess that's an expression. So that's all you've watched in the last week, Mike? Is just a
It's
bunch of-
6 Harry Potter movies. That's one a day, man. Those are rookie numbers. Get that shit up,
That and a couple Office episodes. That's what I'm going through.
man.
Mike.
Okay, what episodes? Give us something to talk
Yeah,
about.
come on, Mike.
son.
You gotta give us some
You
more.
guys-
This is like a 45-minute segment.
All right. You remember the really embarrassing picnic episode between Michael and Holly?
Holly?
Where they
No, I
the,
don't watch The Office.
Okay, the episode at the company picnic when they kind of out the fact that they're going to close down
Yeah.
the.
Buffalo.
Okay, yeah, Buffalo branch. Yep.
Yeah. That one, I hate that one, but that was.
That's the
most
episode where you
recent
find out at the end that Pam is preggers.
one. Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
I
if you
haven't seen
it by
that
now.
yet. I was never gonna watch The Office.
Skip the first 3 seasons if you
really
did.
I'm not
missing
gonna
out.
watch The Office. There's too much stuff. I'm still gonna watch The Good Place and this other stuff.
You have to
That's
watch
true.
The Good Place.
You have
'cause
to.
Ted
'Cause
Danson's
it's got
on
Ted
it.
Danson.
I know.
And Damages because it's got Ted Danson.
I know.
You may be less so on Damages if you want to keep your sanity.
That's true. Just watch
That
Sweeps
implies I
instead.
already
It's cool.
had it, but
Ah, well.
Just watch Sweep instead, and life is good.
Yeah,
we have to make it first.
that's
Yeah.
fine. That's
make-
that's just a small detail, Scott.
Yeah, that's fine.
No,
I'll see Shania. I'll see Shania in June. I'll get her signed off as the lovely bartender. So we're good. All we need is Shania to start, and then everyone else will follow.
Oh.
Get Shania, and they will come.
I don't even know what to say, so I'm just gonna probably start with my list then of what
Okay.
did I watch this week.
Okay.
Since Mike was really short, because, well, I do a movie podcast, so I watch a lot of stuff.
Yep. What did you watch this week, Scott?
So, like I said, I watched a bunch. I started with Spiderman Homecoming. I saw that at the library. It was in the Express thing, and I'm like, oh, I can watch that in the next 3 days. So
It's
I
on
did.
Netflix, man.
What? When did that happen? Did that literally happen like a day
months ago.
No,
No,
that's
months
not
ago,
true.
man.
It's not true. Homecoming is not on Netflix.
Dude, I've
I-
watched it on Netflix.
I looked it up on my phone while I was standing with the DVD.
Man, I've seen it in my house, and I haven't unwrapped the Blu-ray.
I don't know what's happening. I feel like me and you
Here,
have two
let me
complete
just
different types of
let me just
Netflix.
settle this real quick.
Okay, you Google that. The point was,
Dude, they must have yanked it because I've watched it in my house.
I don't know what to tell you. It has not been on Netflix.
Okay, anyways, you
the
watched
movies that
Spider-Man
come up when you
Homecoming.
I
say
watched Spider-Man
Spider-Man
Homecoming. It's the first time
are
I've seen
not
it since
that one.
theaters. I enjoy it. It's still my favorite Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
My favorite Spider-Man. All that stuff. It's a good movie. I watched it. I grabbed it from the library because I knew it wasn't on Netflix, just in case I didn't get a chance to watch it before I get to it for the countdown to Avengers Infinity War. But yeah, that's one thing I watched. And then I got a bunch of other stuff. So I watched 3 different documentaries. 3 different documentaries on comic books. So I watched The Secret Origin, the story of DC Comics, which was actually narrated by Ryan Reynolds. That was 2 hours of greatness. You learned a little bit about DC. It was really interesting.
'Cause Ryan Reynolds is somebody I could listen to talk for 2 hours easily.
Exactly. That's what I enjoyed about it too. He's not always narrating because there's a lot of interviews with comic book creators and artists. But it was still really interesting. I really enjoyed that. I also watched the PBS's Superheroes and Never Ending Battle, which was a 3-part documentary. Each part was an hour. That one covered both Marvel and DC, so it was a little bit more interesting to get a little bit more of a view of everything. And then the third one I watched was called Comic Book Independence, which, as in the name implies, it's about independent comic books like Dark Horse, Image, and a bunch of others that I had never heard of. A lot of very bitter people is the main thing I noticed from them. A lot of bitter comic book artists who have a big problem against big corporations like DC and Marvel.
Because they hadn't made it big yet.
Well, no, like some of them were pretty, like, they were big enough, in my opinion. I'm like, well, if you don't have to pay an upper man, if, like, because a lot of them were just their own small businesses, right? Like these artists, they just made the books themselves and sell them at conventions. So I'm like, well, you don't have to pay, a couple thousand employees like Marvel does, and that's Marvel built up to that point. But anyways, my point was, they just seemed very bitter, in my opinion. But that was also interesting to learn a little bit more about the random comic books that are out there that you just never really think about, like where Conan the Barbarian started. Like, to think that wasn't a major property, that started as a tiny property that got picked
Started
up
in
by...
Austria, didn't he? As a little kid who just got super jacked. And then he got really good at saying his name.
I can't speak to that as the comic book origin. That might be the movie origin. I know that's the origin of Arnold Schwarzenegger's
there we go.
autobiography.
We had to say his name because that
Arnold.
makes 20 for 20. Arnold.
Mike, give us your
every
best Arnold
episode.
impression. Just say Arnold in your best Arnold impression. Just your best.
Oh God.
Just try. Just say Arnold in your best Arnold. Don't think
Or
about it.
give
Just
us an
do
Arnold
it.
reference.
Just give us something. I'll be back. Give something, Mike.
It's turbo time.
That's good enough. I like it, Mike.
There we go.
Nice try.
Special guest Arnold.
You'll have to practice that before coming on again, though, Mike. I will be
Yeah.
testing
I
you
will.
again.
I will.
forgot that was the one criteria we had. But anyway,
This is not a good reference.
All I was told was sports pitches.
that's fair. That's fair. We thought it was implied about Arnold.
Clearly,
It
you
was my
don't listen to
mistake.
the show enough if you don't know that we WWWTW every episode.
Every single episode.
Anyways, let's move
Riff and
past
tiff.
that. So what else I
Okay.
watched was the Grand Tour season finale. The second season wrapped up on Amazon Prime. It was only 11 episodes. I think Amazon's put a lot more into each episode, a lot more expensive episodes, but I partly miss when they used to do like cheaper episodes and give me more of them. Like instead of having a bunch
Okay.
of Lamborghinis like 4 episodes in a row, I'd rather them go like have random challenges where they buy like used cars and they're like, oh, this is the best.
Let's
Pick
get
up your-
junkers and drive across the desert.
Again, exactly. That's what I love them doing because they get so miserable and grumpy
Yeah.
and they yell at each other and it's awesome. And that's why I love the show. They get like that in Lamborghinis too, but not as often because Lamborghinis are a more
Because they're
comfortable
driving.
ride.
They're driving a Lamborghini.
Hard to
Can't
be
be
upset
pissed.
while sitting in a $500,000 car. I imagine.
Yeah.
I've never done it, but I imagine so. But I'm a little upset that it's over. I have to wait another year at least, probably, before I get another season of that.
Damn, son.
Yeah, so that was disappointing. But luckily, Netflix had added a new show for me to watch right after that, which I binge watched this weekend. That's right, I watched something else instead of The Good Place, yet again. But
Come on, man.
the 4th season of Z Nation was added, which is my favorite zombie show. So I had to binge watch the 13 episodes of the 4th season that got added to Netflix on Friday that I finished on Saturday.
You're wrong to have done that, but I support your binge watching.
Yeah.
It's the same number of episodes as The Good Place.
Yeah, but this one has zombies.
Well,
Technically, so does The Good Place. Without
technically, they're dead people who are still alive.
But do they cut each other's heads off?
not.
Well, they do
exactly.
murder one of them.
Yes.
Is DJ Quills in it?
Yes.
That's not true. Don't lie to me. You don't even know who that is, I bet.
Nope, no clue. But
He's
yes,
the new guy.
he's in the
Ted
good place.
Danson's in
The
it, and that's
new
all that
guy.
matters.
He's the new guy. Does anybody know the new guy? The
Yeah, man.
movie?
Yeah.
He's the new guy.
I don't think so.
Really, this skinny kid, gets picked on at his school, doesn't like it, so he...
Dude, have you ever met me? That does not pertain to my life.
That's fair. It had Eddie Griffin in it. Is that his name? The guy
with the huge mustache? Oh no, Eddie Griffin, the
com-
the
comedian?
pimp.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
exactly.
pimp, right?
From
Okay.
yeah, so he's in that.
Deuce
But,
Bigelow.
yeah, so he's in it, and the skinny guy meets him in jail, and he teaches him how to be tough when he goes to his new school, and he ends up winning over the hot new cheerleader at that school, which is played by the girl who plays. Oh, she's in a bunch of stuff now. I'm forgetting what she is. Dollhouse. Do you know the show Dollhouse?
No.
She was in Buffy too. Damn.
Zoe Deschanel?
I think that's her. No, not Zoe.
No.
It's something with an E, I think, but I'm not sure. That's not important. We need to get off track with people's names sometimes.
Gene Simmons is in it. He plays a reverend.
Yep. Are we talking about the new guy still?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was talking about the girl.
Eliza Dushku.
Yeah, her.
Or Dushku.
Yeah. So he wins her over. It was awesome. It was a good movie. It was funny. My point. I don't know how he is in Z Nation. That was where this whole little sidetrack went. With
DJ
that.
Qualls.
Yeah. Did I say that before, or did I say his name wrong?
Yes.
Quills.
I said Quills, didn't I? That sounds about
Yeah.
right. Whatever. The point is, I watched other stuff this week too.
Oh, man. He's the skinny guy in Hustle and Flow. He's the one who wears the wife beater.
I've never seen Hustle and Flow.
Me neither.
Come on, man. You know it's hot out here for a pimp.
I imagine so. I'm not a.
Well, we're trying to get the money for the rent.
I have a job for that.
Well, he pimps hoes, and then he
I will
also
support that.
makes mediocre mixtapes,
I semi-support
which
that.
Ludacris then stomps on.
I fully support that. Just curious how long we could go with that one. Anyways, I only have a few more things that I watched this week, which was Thor: The Dark World, the second Thor movie. Watch that for the countdown. If people want to know more, they can watch the video. That's on our YouTube channel.
Not going too far into that one.
I talked about it for 10 minutes today while I was recording the video. I don't need to talk about it more. So I also watched From Russia with Love because I need to get through 20 James Bonds, and I am through
J-Bond.
2, and I have 4 weeks left. So we'll see how that works out. But
One every day and a third should get you through them.
I've been trying to aim for that. It doesn't work out that way all the time because the last thing on my list kind of interfered with it yesterday, which was Black Panther, which is what I saw yesterday. I bailed out on work early so I could get a ticket because it's been sold out all weekend, which I've never seen in Canada, like ever. I never tried to go to the movies in the first 2 weeks though, but I
That's
really
why.
enjoyed that. Yeah, well, that's why exactly. I don't like being in a full theater, which I think relates to both of your guys' stories this week, which was my way of throwing it over to whoever wants to go next.
Craig, you want to hit me with yours?
All right, but at first I'm going to start it with all the other stuff I watched so that I
Okay.
can finish it off.
That
with the
sounds
story.
good.
Robitussin.
So,
Oh, thank you.
So this week I didn't watch a whole lot, weirdly. So I did restart watching Big Mouth last night.
Oh, that's why that reference is on the top of your
Yeah,
head.
That's,
Yep.
that's why it was on the top of my head. That and a lot of other references. Cause
He may not know how to read, but he does know how to read a room.
I was thinking more of paint my nails or suck my dick, but hey.
Paint my nails or suck my dick.
Oh, your dog looks like Nathan Fillion. It's a bad Jenny Slate impression, but anyway.
That was terrible.
Next,
So I watched Big Mouth.
Yep.
And I also I mentioned it last week. I finished the Netflix documentary series Dirty Money.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
I had that to my list
So-
last week after you mentioned it.
it's a good idea. You get to learn about Volkswagen, prescription drugs, payday money loans.
Oh, that'd be
Um,
interesting. I like that.
That one's particularly good. I can't remember what the fourth one is.
I'm sure it'll be something interesting.
It's
Probably about a wall breaking.
I'm sure it was interesting.
Fourth
There's
wall break?
Oh.
That was the joke. It was bad.
There's a. It's funnier now that I've thought about it. There's a documentary about the maple syrup market in Quebec, and the last one is a Donald Trump one, which actually kind of disappointed.
Which one was that?
It's Dirty Money.
Oh, okay.
It was about Donald Trump before he was president, like his
Oh.
whole real estate thing, and it wasn't as good as I
Anticipated.
was hoping. Yeah, since the maple syrup documentary was so Canadian, it hurt. There was a very, very gratuitous like pan up shot from the ground up of a Mountie in full dress uniform
Oh, yes.
with no other Mountie context. None.
Just because they
didn't
can. I like that.
They didn't reference the RCMP. In fact, I'm pretty sure that it was like Montreal police that were investigating this maple syrup robbery, but they included the Mountie in full dress uniform just for fun.
Craig,
I like it.
That same thing kind of happened in Z Nation because they were crossing the border, and they just had 2 random zombie Mounties come out of like the border crossing. And I'm like, we don't have Mounties everywhere. They're not our only police
They're not
people.
even at the border.
They're not at the border.
They
out
only
loud.
wear that
That's
for
the
ceremonial
CDSC.
purposes, people. Come on, like, does nobody get that? Like,
If any of our listeners take anything away from this episode, it's that Mounties are never wearing dress in the field.
except for like
Anyway.
Remembrance Day. That's like the one day they have to remember.
But that's not even in the field.
That's true. It's very true.
They're outstanding in their field.
So now,
That's a Brad Paisley reference.
Ah. So I watched Dirty Money.
Yep.
I also watched. I went and saw a lot of movies this weekend. So I saw Early Man. That's the claymation family movie about the cavemen.
Yep.
It's quite British,
Ooh.
and it's pretty funny for a kids movie. It was pretty funny.
Like on the level of like Shrek, or
No.
not that.
It was more of a cute funny.
Oh, okay.
Tom Hiddleston, Eddie Redmayne, Maisie Williams.
Wait, Tom Hiddleston does things. Wait,
Tom Hiddleston plays a French guy.
does something. I would love to hear that. Actually, that sounds awesome.
Other than Loki and other than
I only know him as
the
Loki.
guy in King Bond. Wow, King Kong.
Oh yeah, King Kong. I saw that 2 weeks ago too. That's how memorable his thing was. His character was in that movie.
That brings me to the moment everyone's been waiting for.
Tell us that
Andrew,
story.
you've heard this. Andrew, you've heard the story. Scott, you have not. Mike, obviously, you haven't. So
Obviously.
on Thursday, now I don't think I need to tell our listeners because you guys are pretty avid movie watchers. I don't think I need to tell you guys that there's next to nothing in theaters this week aside from Black Panther opening on the weekend. There really isn't a whole lot going on unless you want to go see a 50 Shades movie or something else that's been around forever.
Which, in case anyone was wondering, we don't.
No, we don't. And so when I was looking at my movie selections for this week, for Thursday night, the options were either go to a 7 o'clock screening of Black Panther and fight for a seat, or go to a 7:30 showing of a movie about 3 American tourists stopping a terrorist attack on a train. And I thought, how could you possibly go wrong with that kind of plotline, right?
I could tell you like 10
to
different ways.
Paris, 3 Americans stopping a terrorist attack. I'm like, and even if it's not good, it's not going to be awful because it's you're figuring you're gonna be going to see an action movie.
Not an action
So
movie.
no,
Is this
So-
based on a real? Is this based on like a real terror
You
attack?
better believe it, but I'll get there.
Well, that's a little bit more understandable. We gotta
So-
keep going.
So we sit down to watch the movie. Sight unseen, by the way.
Yep.
Didn't watch a trailer. Read the synopsis. That's it.
He
Last
he
time I
only
ever-
knew that Jenna Fisher was in it.
Yeah, Jenna Fisher was in it from The Office. So I was like, how could you go wrong with Clint Eastwood directing and Jenna Fisher being in a movie?
That's fair.
And then it turns out that they had a bunch of Arrested Development characters or actors in it, and all kinds of other people that like this movie should have been great.
but it wasn't.
So we sit down, and I'm trying to remember. I think it's technically the second scene in the movie. So the first scene is like a real build up in a train station. You're following a guy who's got a suitcase and like there's nothing being said, none of that. Second scene, 3 dudes in a convertible driving through what looks to be California. There's 2 big bro looking white dudes and a skinny black guy. And they're sitting in this convertible, and it zooms right in on the black gentleman's face, and he says, and I kid you not, these are the word for word quotes. He says, "I know what you're thinking. What's a brother like me hanging out with 2 crackers like this?" And I was like, "It's it. That's done. This is gonna be the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire
movie
life."
ever.
I would have thrown my soda that I don't ever buy at the movie theaters because they're too expensive right at the freaking screen. Stupid. That's dumb.
I was like, this is the okay.
garbage.
Please save this movie because this is terrible.
That's terrible.
And then he does a whole spiel about them like oh, you know, this guy's gonna always have my back, and like we get in all this trouble, and then they're like, well, now we'll show you how we got here. And don't they go all the way back to freaking elementary school?
What?
So the entire movie is basically with tiny little flash forwards to the actual train.
To the actual
The
thing that
entire-
happened that it was supposed
Yeah,
to be about?
the entire movie is their life story building up to it. So we spend forever on elementary school and how they move from a public school to a Christian school, and they meet each other and they get into trouble. Then they like go to high school, and then they kind of split up, and two of them end up in the military, and they're gonna go on this European trip, and then they go on the European trip, and this is where it gets exactly, and this is where it gets really, really awful.
Oh, it gets worse.
Yes, it does. So the European trip, they're like they spent more time on elementary school than they did on the entire European trip, which is the most important part because
is
that's
what the
where the
thing's
train
about.
thing happened.
Yeah.
So they're on the European trip, and it's the two guys, and they're in Italy. But there's no subtitle or anything to tell you that they're in Italy. But you can tell they're in Rome because they're standing in front of the Colosseum. They're looking at stuff. They're doing a bunch of stupid touristy things.
Yeah.
It's awful. Taking selfies, whatever. Stupid tourist stuff.
Yeah, typical
So
sort of
then
stuff.
camera cuts. Next scene, they're walking down a set of stairs in what looks like Italy. Turns out it's Venice. No subtitle. So they're wandering around Venice, we assume.
You guess.
There's a whole scene on the canal, and they meet some girl from LA, and she's there for like 2 minutes. They make it seem like she's gonna be such a big thing. You know, you've seen movies.
Yeah.
They run into
You-
somebody,
you
and all
don't
of a sudden
put
she
something
tags
in
along.
a movie for no reason.
Yeah, so like you'd think that meet the girl who's from LA.
Maybe she's gonna be on the
in
train
Venice, you'd be like, oh, she's gonna go with them. Obviously, they're all touring Europe. Why not, right? Like that's
Exactly.
the only reason this is here.
Logical.
No, because camera cut. Now we're on a bike tour in
Oh
Germany,
my god.
and the only reason you
Yep.
know you're on a bike tour in Germany is because, first of all, you can tell like the climate changes a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're on this bike tour, and they stop at this sign. The tour guide says.
It was a Mountie on a bicycle in Germany.
So the tour guide, they all stop their bikes, and he goes, "This is one of the more interesting sites in Berlin. This is the Hitler bunker. This is where Hitler died when he was being surrounded by Russian troops." And the American idiots go, "Wait, didn't Hitler die in the Eagle's Nest, being surrounded by the American troops?" And the tour guide goes off, and you're like, "Why is this even in here?" And then they're in a
Whole
bar
thing sounds
in
just ridiculous.
It's great, but it gets better. They're in a bar in Berlin, and they meet this old guy who's like, "Oh, you got to go to Amsterdam. Amsterdam's amazing." And there's a whole lot of implication about him hooking up with prostitutes and smoking marijuana. It's strange. So then they're like, "Nah, I don't think we're gonna have time to go to Amsterdam. Like, we got this whole thing planned. We want to go to Paris. Yada 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 yada." Camera cut. They're in a club. Where? Nobody told us. Then we've gone from the whole Christian motif, which you're kind of getting from the movie. I could have swore I was in a Christian movie, which would have made things even worse, to a whole lot of provocative dancing and drinking and like, oh yeah, we do this all the time in the club. Camera cut. Wake up hungover. Now we find out they're in Amsterdam. No subtitles.
How do they get there? Who knows?
Exactly. I thought they weren't going to Amsterdam, but then
The-
they go on the train. There's like 2 minutes of actual action, and then it ends with the press conference. Now, I told you I saw this movie sight unseen, which means I had no idea. I knew it was based on a true story, but I had no idea. The dudes acted in the movie by themselves.
Yeah,
Oh, it's the actual dudes?
it was.
It's the actual guys.
That's different.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was like, oh, that's gonna be.
Clearly, Clint
What
Eastwood
kind
was
of-
trying to do something
What
different.
kind
in
of
it.
ego do you have to have? Also, what kind of sociopath are you to relive that sort of experience?
To think that you are the most important thing in the world and that you need to be in the movie about what happened.
It makes you want to hate them.
Well,
I mean, on one hand, if they ever made a movie about the Forgot to Grow Up podcast, I would hope that I'd at least get asked if I wanted to be on it. I wouldn't,
I would like to be
but
cast in a bit part that's
Yes.
nowhere near what I do.
I want to be some jackass who's sitting in my barber chair while the fake me cuts my hair and I just bitch about stuff. And then that guy will come on this podcast and complain about real me.
Exactly. So that was the experience. I apologize to my date for watching it. I should have left earlier, but I had to see how bad it got.
Has she spoken to you since?
Yeah, we went out tonight.
Hey.
Okay, good. Good.
So
As long as you didn't go to the same movie, things are good.
no. But that leads into the final bit of what I watched this week. That movie was so bad that when I came home, I bought a ticket and went and saw Black Panther same night.
Hey, before you get into Black Panther, not to give you guys something to have to edit, something just kind of came up with my phone. Apparently it's running out of space. So I've gone through 16 gigs somehow.
Oh, damn. Somehow, God.
It's telling me I have like 3 more minutes worth of recording.
You need to
Alright.
delete your porn, man. Come on, son.
Let's.
Do you want to
okay,
like
what we do-
sign
this
me
is all
off
gonna
or
be-
something, or?
Yeah,
we
this
can
is
sign
this
you
is
off
all
and
gonna be
we'll-
part of the. This is all gonna be part of the episode.
Yes, we'll sign
Due
you
to
off.
technical difficulties, we'll have to let Mike go.
Sorry.
Thanks for joining
Thanks
us,
for
Mike.
thanks for having us. We look forward to you coming back on the show
Oh, I
later.
will. Thank you guys.
Thanks
I've
for
had fun.
joining, Mike.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Yeah, have a
See you,
good
Mike.
one, Mike.
You too.
Okay, Craig. Well, after that interruption, why don't you finish telling us about Black Panther? You had to watch Black Panther to wash the taste of what's it called out of
Oh
your
my
mouth? Is that what you said?
Gosh, yeah, the 15-17 in Paris was so bad I had to go see Black Panther, and we're not going to talk about it very much.
No,
because
we'll
it's
save an
too
episode for
early.
that, I hope.
So all I will say is that
He immediately
enjoyed
called
it.
me afterwards to bitch about it.
about the 15-17 in Paris, yeah, and then on the phone made the decision that I was going to go see Black Panther, which was well worth my time.
Yes, I agree with
the
that.
The only 2 things that, or I guess I'll say 3 things about it, and all of it's experience based, is there was some asshole on Snapchat more than once on his phone. So if you're listening to this podcast, first of all, don't. Second of all, stop with the Snapchat in the middle of the damn movie. The rest of us are trying to watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's
I second
that bit on theater etiquette. The next was I really liked it,
Yeah, it was enjoyable.
but the guys in front of me laughed at weird times. And then just a funny little anecdote. We're sitting there waiting for the post-credit scene, and the kids, the row of white kids in front of me are debating the merits of the soundtrack.
Oh, nice.
And they're all trying to one-up each other with the, I know it's cultural, but, and I'm like, oh my god,
Oh, God, I love those children.
shut up, it was a good movie.
Children. That's all I'll say.
They
about
were
that.
the same age as us, because I went to college with one of them.
Children, nonetheless.
You should have kicked one of them in the back of the head. Just bam.
Shut up.
Uh,
Anyway,
yes.
that's what I watched this week.
Right on.
I apologize for the long-winded rant on the 15-17 to Paris.
I still don't know.
Don't
what
go
it's
see
about.
it.
You have, I will make 2 recommendations on that just quickly. Either don't go see it and save yourself, or go see it and see how bad it is.
Wait until it goes on Netflix, and then
That's-
you've technically already paid for
I
it.
guess that's a recommendation of some kind.
Yeah, either really don't,
Yeah.
Or really do.
actually really don't. But if you must, watch the first couple minutes just so you can get that wonderful piece of dialogue. That's the first time I've ever been in a movie and gone, oh shit.
Like, seriously, man? Come on, why?
Oh gosh. Well, Andrew, I wonder if your story is gonna top that one. Why don't you start us off with what you watched this week?
Okay, leading into my story.
Yes.
I also watched Big Mouth over the past couple of days.
Do you two
Because-
coordinate what you guys
Telepathic
watch? Like,
No,
We
not
don't
on
coordinate
purpose,
it. We
it's
just tell each other
accidental.
that we were halfway through something, and sometimes we end up rewatching it ourselves.
Okay,
That's just how our relationship works.
fair.
Next, I move on to I watched a couple episodes of Family Guy, just while I was in the bathtub soaking, just so I knew I was in there for about 20 minutes. Threw on some Family Guy. I also got back into Weeds because that show it sneaks up on me how good it is.
I
I
enjoyed
love
that
me some
show,
Nancy
yeah.
Botwin.
Oh, for sure.
I watched the new episode of Black Lightning.
Oh, nice.
Both episodes because I hadn't watched episode 4 last week.
We're all caught up.
I watched 4 and 5, all caught up.
Wait, 5? I don't know if I've watched 5 yet. Was that yesterday?
Five's the one
then?
where, yeah.
Okay, I haven't watched yesterday's yet then.
Okay, I'm not gonna talk about it then.
Okay.
I also went back and got back into Mad Men because Don
Nice.
Draper
I
is
always
the
approve of
man.
That. It's been too long since I've rewatched that.
Oh God, it's worth every minute. I
I
love
know.
that show.
I love that show so much too. It's like honestly, it kind of inspired me a little bit to go into marketing, just a little bit, because
I can't say I blame you.
it gave me like a nugget of interest in business and advertising, and I learned
Okay.
more about it, which led to me finding out what marketing even was. So that show has big, like, I don't know what's the word for it, but I really love that show.
It has some sweet pull and
Yeah.
brought you in.
Exactly, yeah. So just it's had a lot of influence on me too, like in that way. Like I got a lot from it. Is what I mean. But it's really enjoyable.
Okay.
Great stories, like great plots, like throughout different seasons, and really interesting like characters that they built up throughout the show.
Yeah,
It was really good.
Roger Sterling is a badass.
I love that
Total
guy.
dick, but he's a badass.
love that
Great hair.
guy.
Howard Stark.
Howard Stark.
I tried watching Mr. D.
It
With Jerry
is
D.
a hit and miss for me. I can tolerate it sometimes, and other times I hate it.
I think the D stands for don't watch. I made it about halfway through season 1, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking,
I love how far
why?
you get before you give up on the show. We talked about this last week,
Yeah.
but it just
I've had
baffles
too
me.
many shows that I've given up on, and then like 4 seasons in, I find out it's great, and I have to go back. So I've started giving it more time to suck me in,
Okay.
and it didn't.
You have
I
a
mean,
lot
I
more
never really
faith.
found Jerry D that funny to begin with,
Yeah.
but I figured I'd give him a chance. Clearly, he's got I think 4 or 5 seasons of the show. I was like, I'll give him a chance. Clearly, someone likes him somewhere, and it wasn't me. I'm not the
He's-
one who liked him.
I don't really enjoy the show, but he's got a lot of really good Canadian comedians on it.
I've never watched it.
Yeah. Well, it's got was it Jason Sudeikis in it?
It's got Mark Forward.
Yep.
It just didn't stick out
Has
enough to me to like
Mark Little.
bother even trying to check out. But it doesn't seem
Yeah,
like my type
I
of show.
don't go to your way to watch it. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
As soon as you said D stands for don't, I'm like, oh, thank God. I
Yep,
thought
D
I was
stands for
so
don't
worried.
watch.
Like every time you guys start lists, I'm like, is there more stuff I have to get to watching?
No. Next up, I watched the first episode of the weekly update show of the Joel McHale show.
Oh, I was gonna watch
Did
that.
you
the
did
other
you
night.
like it?
I thought it was pretty good.
I liked it.
Like personally, I like Joel McHale.
yeah.
He just reminds me of like a smarmy dick, and I love it.
I love that too about
I
it.
forgot to add that to my list. I entirely forgot that I watched that Sunday morning.
He seems like the kind of guy that if you walked up to him and asked for a picture and an autograph, he'd tell you get one. And then if you took the picture from you, he'd throw your phone in,
That's exactly
in like
what I
a
was
glass of
thinking.
water.
He'd take your phone, like he'd take the picture. He'd be like, "Oh, that's a nice one,"
And then leave with the
Throw it.
phone. Yeah.
Or yeah, start walking
And
away.
then, and
with
then
it.
he'd buy you a new phone, but like just because it would be funny as all hell, I feel like he'd do
Funny,
that.
and that's part of who he is.
Or someone would say, "Can I get your autograph?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, okay." And he'd write Y with a question mark after it and give
Yeah.
it back to them.
I forgot that he used to do the soup.
The soup, yeah.
Which I used
It's
to
the
actually
same
It's the
show.
exact same show.
Yeah, which like that's what I heard about when this show was coming,
Yeah.
like starting. That reminded me. I used to watch the soup. I just had forgotten that I forgot that
I
he was
really-
the same guy as like Community. Like
I
that
I
connection
found
never
the soup and this one like a more grown up version of Tosh.0.
yeah, that's
Like
what
Tosh
I
Point
Weird
oh.
to say because I always pictured Daniel Tosh to be the not grown up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of
that-
see him more
that's
as
how I
like
felt
the,
about
like
it.
Daniel Taj is like the shooting for the younger demographic, and he's
Yeah.
shooting for a slightly more mature demographic.
For us through 30, like
Yeah.
that's what I feel like his demographic. And he's got sweet hair. He also happens to have the same hair as I do. So it works. Well, for now. Anyways,
Coincidence?
possibly.
I think not.
Possibly. So that leads me into my final thing that I watched this week, which was Black Panther.
Which is so,
And-
like just surprising that we all managed to see a
Yeah, this is
movie
the
in
first
its
time.
opening
Or-
weekend.
Since Justice League.
For the record,
Yes.
though, just so the listeners are fully aware, because I'm
Craig
gonna take
saw it
every
first.
second that I can to gloat. I saw it first.
Craig saw
somehow
it
beat
first.
all of us. Well, I never go the first night, and somehow Craig was the one to go.
Yeah.
the first.
I
night.
usually go opening night. I didn't make it till Sunday.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Like I was trying to go Sunday. All the tickets were sold out Sunday night. Like, well,
I
not
almost
all.
saw it
All but the
twice
first
before
two
you guys saw
rows
it.
in the very front, and I was like, I don't do front row. And I don't. And then Monday was
See.
all sold out. So Tuesday I had to go. Well, everyone was still at work. Luckily, I get
See.
to leave work, so it was okay.
I don't do front row because the theater I go to for a lot of my opening weekend and big stuff
Yeah.
is the theater in Belleville, which the front row is mainly reserved for handicap
Yeah. Which is
people with the
understandable.
wheelchairs.
They can't make
So I
enough
don't
chairs.
exactly. So I don't sit there.
Yeah.
But that's not even the first point of my situation that happened to me, my whole experience. So I get there, I pull into the parking lot and I park the car. And what do I see? I see a guy wearing a Spider-Man hoodie with the hood up that zips.
Yep. Yeah, he's got the
Zips
eyes.
into the mask.
Hang on a second, just so I can picture it in my head. Are we talking? How old are we talking?
Oh.
For the kid?
Oh, you said guy.
A guy. He's like
that's why I was
7. He's like
asking.
16, 17.
Okay.
So someone
He-
between a kid and a guy.
Dumbass. Yeah.
Okay. I'll start it off by saying, have you ever looked at someone and been like, that guy is capable of being a serial killer?
Yes.
That's what this guy looked like.
Every morning.
Okay. So,
In the
what, you look in the mirror?
Yeah.
So, anyways,
dot,
this
dot.
guy, this guy with his Spider-Man hoodie zipped up to turn into mask mode,
Yeah.
starts doing like parkour off the light post, which, to get you guys familiarized with the Belleville Galaxy Cinema light posts, there's probably about 3.5, 4 feet of concrete
It's
up in a
typical
cylinder.
mall parking lot.
Yeah,
light
with the
post.
light post. Okay, so he's climbing up on the cement, jumping off of it, doing like dance move shit for like easily like just shy of 10 minutes. I watched this
I
kid,
think I see where this is going.
and then he happens to see that I'm watching him, and he unzips his hoodie, takes it off, and he walks away with the angriest like, you know what? I'm gonna go kill someone face. And I was like, I probably just caused that shit. So I go into the movie theater to try to rectify the situation. I just ruined this guy's life. So he's gonna go kill someone. Now I have to go feel better about myself.
Yeah.
So I go in, I print off my ticket because I paid in advance, and I think, you know what? This is over a 2-hour movie. I'm gonna need a drink.
Yeah.
I haven't had a drink in a while.
I
Big Daddy
forgot
drinks a
about this
lot
part
of
of the
water.
story.
I'm gonna need a drink. So I get in line. I wait easily 15 minutes because the person behind the counter was overwhelmed, which I'm not blaming them.
I am.
It was a long line. They were overwhelmed just trying to get through people.
They
It
should
was
have
busy as all hell. I'm not blaming them.
Maybe
So I
more
finally get up to the counter. I say, "May I have a large iced tea, please?" That's everything. My total comes to $6.20. So, being easy with money in my head, I say, okay, I'm going to give her $21.20. For those of you following at home, that's $15 change.
As an adult would do.
Yes, I give her $21.20. That way, she just has to give me 3 bills or 2 bills back. She doesn't have to hand me quarters, doesn't have to hand me loonies, nothing.
No
3
coins.
bills.
No coins because we're Canadian for American.
She
listeners.
owes me $15 change.
Yeah.
She looks at me and says, "Do you have anything smaller?"
I don't
Excuse
think
me?
you're ready to be a Cineplex yet.
Excuse me? I gave you $21.20. I need $15. A ticket is like $15.
Yeah.
You don't have ticket money? So I was straight rattled and didn't know what to do. Like Tom Segura has a joke that's the same thing of him at Starbucks,
Yeah.
where he tries to pay for it with the 20 and she can't do the change. And I remember thinking when I heard that joke, that's fucking bullshit. It's
Yeah.
funny, but that is bullshit.
I've never
There's
been to a
no
place
way
that
they
doesn't
didn't have change
enough
for it.
change, yeah.
There's no way they didn't have change for a 20 until it happened to me, and I'm like, okay.
I'd like.
I didn't want to put this on my credit card, but
I'm gonna call the manager kind of guy because I used to be a manager, so I know. I'm gonna talk to the person who actually knows how to do shit, not this minimum wage mother effer who's just lying to me because they don't want to pretend that they don't know how to
math.
do math. That's what it came down to. She was embarrassed that she couldn't do the math in her head, and she was like, "Oh, give me the 5." It's like, no, no, I can't handle incompetent customer service. No, I will call out
I was
any of you.
straight rattled. I
I would've been
texted
too.
Craig immediately.
I would have shouted at her. I'm a not a shout. I'm a like angrily
A stern talker?
Yes, a very stern. I'm like, are you serious right now? And she'd be like, what do you mean? I'm like, you've got a cash register,
which is a
means-
frickin' calculator.
yeah, and it's
You
full
put
of
in
money.
how much I gave you.
Full money, and if you run out of money in that, guess what? I know what you have to do. You put your hand up. Your manager comes over and he gives you more money. So if you need to do that right now, you should do that. Because apparently, you don't have $15 in there, which is just dumb. I would have been
15.
so much more rattled than you. I would have
Oh God.
I would have rioted. I would not have been allowed in the movie by the end of my rant.
I was so rattled. I was like, I did the math for you.
Yeah.
I figured it out.
I beat
I
you
did the
to
hard
it.
part.
I beat you
You
to
do
it.
this. Thank you, sir.
I would have been so like smart ass with her too. I'd been like, you don't accept 20s here? And she'd be like, I'd be like, no, I just want to make sure. Give me a second. Here's my phone. I want to get this on record. At Cineplex, Odeon, or whatever you're called.
Galaxy Cinemas.
Galaxy Cinemas.
Oh yeah, 'cause you're off in the middle of nowhere. Anyways, Galaxy
Yep.
Cinemas.
Wow.
I just want you to this on record for Twitter and everything else. Y'all don't accept 20s? Ugh.
Yeah. See, you're riled up. You
I'm
weren't even
so
fucking
riled
there,
up.
man.
I can't
You weren't
handle
even there.
bad customer service.
Okay, so moving on from that, onto that's 2 out of like 45 things that happened to me this day.
Okay.
So I walk in, and we had already spoken earlier before I started my story about the front row of this Galaxy Cinemaplex and how it's reserved for handicapped people. So I say, you know what? There's a lot of room. I could probably sit higher up if I wanted to. There's probably 2 separate groups of 4 or 5 people in each row. Okay. But I think, okay, I'm one person here at this movie by myself. Mm-hmm. What I need to do is I need to sit dead center of the second row up, so I'm not impeding anyone's spot. I'm trying to be a good person,
I
right?
like that.
So I sit down, and I don't know the exact number. I think it's 8 on one side, 7 on the other. I think that's the number. I'm not 100% sure. All I know is it's odd on one side, even on the other.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sitting there as center as I can possibly be. I got 7 on my right, 8 on my left. Let's use those numbers, okay? So I'm sitting there watching, and a group with one person too many to sit on my right, who, if you guys are following at home, they could have sat on my left, decide, oh, let's go sit on my right. So they start walking in that aisle, and one person's like, could you maybe move over so that we can sit here? And I'm like, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So I move over a seat. This bitch who sat beside me then looks at me again, says, can you move over another seat? Because we don't want it to look like you're with our group. Excuse me, bitch? The fuck did you just say to me?
Oh,
I'm not gonna say it might have been a racial thing, but
I would have fucking flipped out and be like, you sat in the row where I was sitting and you want to tell me where to go? How about you go die? Die! I tell people to go die all the time because they should die.
Yeah, this bitch
You don't
told me to
deserve to
fucking
live.
move. So, me trying to be civil, me being a big fat pushover,
Yeah.
I say, fine, I'm gonna move over. So I move over because I don't want to be associated with them at this point.
I'd be like,
Yeah, you don't wanna be-
I don't want to sit near your smelly asses. You smell like BO, bitch. Why don't you get some fucking deodorant, woman? I don't want to be associated with people who don't walk around with deodorant on. She might have been wearing deodorant. I'm gonna call her up for not wearing deodorant. No one else is gonna be like, oh, she's wearing deodorant. No, she isn't. I smell BO.
You
It's
don't
not
know.
coming for me. It showed up when you showed up.
So I moved over a seat.
Yeah.
What happens? A group with the exact same amount of people who need me to move back over come in on that side of my aisle.
Yeah.
So I move over. Now I'm stuck beside this bitch again. And just so I can go back and state something that I forgot to mention, she had the biggest bag of popcorn in the world. Picture the biggest bag you've ever seen, bigger.
Imagine
okay?
a garbage
Double it.
bag.
That
double
is how big. It's a friggin' contractor bag. That's how big. Okay.
She filled it up 3 times during the movie.
That's how big this bag was, man. It was huge. So anyways, the people come in, they sit beside me, the guy next to me, like 2 minutes into the movie, like it's barely started, kicks his drink over. Kicks it over.
Motherfucker. Do you guys
So my
not have
shoe
cup
is
holders?
wet now. What'd you say?
No cup holders?
Okay, truth be told, Big Daddy's a little plus size. I overlap a little bit into the armrests and the cup holders.
Okay.
And I don't want to sit at a movie with like my hands in between my thighs and like squishied up. No, this is my row. I was there first. I will take up as much damn space as I want.
I agree with that. You were there first.
So he puts his drink on the ground.
Yeah.
Kicks it over a couple minutes in. My shoe is soaked, and then once it dries, my shoe gets sticky.
Yep.
So I hear that
Yep. I hate
noise
that
the whole
noise.
fucking movie, which was driving me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
The kid behind me kicked my chair the whole damn movie.
Oh, motherfucker.
I asked him a few times to stop, didn't stop. And I can't even blame the dad who was in charge of him, because it must have been a birthday party or something. Either that or this guy did not know what a condom was or a vasectomy, because he had way too many kids there for them all
Wait,
to
how
be
many
his.
is way too many?
Either
kids,
way,
The whole row,
if
man.
that kid doesn't listen to you,
Okay.
he didn't have the balls to put the fear of God into those children. Because what you're supposed to do when you're babysitting children in public.
So this kid, so this kid behind me kicked my chair the whole time. Every time I asked him to stop, he'd stop for like a minute and then start again. Susie seat kickers exist, people.
Are you going to sing the entire show?
Maybe.
No.
No.
John Mulaney.
Oh no,
reference for
no. I just realized. My dad, my
you?
hero.
One black coffee.
Yeah, one
Sing
black
it.
coffee. Same man. Anyway, so he kicked my chair the whole damn time.
Yeah.
I was not pleased. And then the woman to my right, the one who asked me to so rudely move,
Yeah.
she was a full body enjoyer. So when she laughs, ha ha ha, throws her whole body around,
Hate
or
those
oh,
people.
full body jumper. She threw popcorn over me the whole damn movie.
I call
She
those
ate like
people,
2 handfuls,
people
and that
whose
was it. And
parents
sat there
never
and held the
loved them,
popcorn for the rest
and
of the
they need
time.
attention.
So I was getting rained on popcorn.
Oh, God.
Part of me wishes I had learned how to go and eat the popcorn
Yeah.
as she threw it at
But
me.
you're not a trained seal.
Yeah. So, movie's done. I've managed to suffer through all of it, okay?
No killing anybody like Scott
I
would
enjoyed
have.
the movie, hated the scenario.
Yeah.
The people to my left of me, we're not even through the credits yet. We're not even at the mid-credit scene. The people beside me on my left stand up. Clearly, they've never seen any Marvel
They
movie
don't know nothing.
ever.
They don't know nothing.
And
Yeah.
then they turn to me and say, "Hey, could you stand up so we can get by?" And I'm like,
Excuse me?
you came
You guys
from
have
that
an
side.
aisle.
I'm like, you came from that
Your
side.
group is
I'm in the
literally
middle.
on an aisle.
You guys want to go
You came
across
in
an
from that way,
entire
go
aisle.
that way. And like, no, it's easier to go this way. I'm like, for who? Who is it easier for?
It's a longer walk.
You just had
So
to
I-
ask me to move.
So I stand up because at this point I'm like, you know what? Jesus, take the wheel. Just
Yeah.
Someone take me, okay? So I stand up.
Yes.
And the group goes by, and then like the third last guy in the row then looks at me and says, could you tuck it in a little bit?
And that's when you should have been ejected from the movie theater for beating his ass up.
Like
I
murder.
looked at him and I was like, no. Like, fuck you, man. You could have gone the other way, homie. Like, what are you doing?
And that's-
asking me to tuck it in?
That's
Fuck you.
when you shove people over the seats in front of you.
That's what I said. You should have given him the fast way down.
It's like, this is how I tuck it in.
Like, I couldn't
And then
believe
he'd
it.
look
Like,
up
I
at
got-
me and I'd kill him with my death stare.
But you wouldn't even have put the fear of God in him. You would have put
No.
the fear of Scott.
Yeah, because
fear of
that's
Todd.
more fearful because I am right here in front of you with these crazy eyes. Which I learned from the new guy.
To give him the Forrest Whitaker eye. Just,
Or tell his dad, whose eyes was a little messed up without having the glasses
yes,
on.
yeah. It almost looked like a glass eye.
It
or
was
just
throwing
gone
me off a
straight
little
up.
bit.
Go straight up King T'Chaka and just stab him with my fingers right in the chest. Just, ah!
Like you, my brother.
Dead,
Ah,
son.
ah.
Ah! This is what happens when you tell me to tuck it in. So after that, I sat back down because I was like, I need to watch this end credit scene because I'm pissed.
Yeah.
And then I saw it and I left and I had to pee because I drank a whole big drink of large iced tea that cost
Yeah.
me $6.20. Should have got $15 change back. Had to put it on my credit card. I go
What?
into the bathroom. Yeah.
Wait
I
a
didn't
second.
mention that
you
part?
didn't finish that.
Yeah, I
You
put it on
just
my
gave
credit
up
card.
and put it on your
That's
credit
where I
card.
would have gone
Yeah.
with that too. I wouldn't have trusted that bitch to count out the change. I'd be
No,
like, oh, you
fuck
didn't
that.
finish high school.
You can't give me $10 and a $5. No, this is going to my credit card.
Yeah.
So I put it on my credit card.
That cost them money.
You did. You cost them money. I actually support that decision. I just think
Yeah, that's why I use my
Yeah.
debit card all the time.
Yeah.
it doesn't cost them money for debit card.
I meant credit. Anyways, keep going with your story,
Anyways,
Andrew.
so I have to go pee.
Yes.
Now, the Galaxy Cinemas, I can't. You guys are familiar. You both use that
Yeah.
that
We
went
washroom
to
there.
Justice League
how
there.
it's
We
got
went
like the
twice.
hallway and you make the left,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Craig went on a sweet date twice at that movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I go in and I make that left, heading towards the urinals, and who is standing there? A teenage girl in a backwards fitted baseball cap. Why is there a girl standing in the men's washroom at the Galaxy Cineplex? Why?
See, immediately I would have
Next
checked
to
for
a
the
urinal.
urinals and had a heart attack.
Like in front of, like watching. And I was like,
I've had
I
that
gotta
happen
go.
at a club, but that's because everyone was drunk. And I'm
Yes.
like, this girl's drunk.
This was 100% sober. I assume she was waiting for her dad or her boyfriend who was taking a dump or something. But I was like, I gotta go. So I went pee. Which now that I'm saying it, I'm wondering, is that technically like sexual harassment or something? Because I whipped it out in front of a teenage girl?
It depends how old she is. It could probably be some sort of indecent exposure.
She shouldn't have been in
But
the
you're
men's
in a
washroom.
bathroom,
I feel
so you
like-
have a leg to stand on.
I feel like
think
the
that
bathroom
they
is
could
a
try
safe
to charge
area
you with it.
where if my penis is out and you're looking at it, it's not
That's
me
on
being
you,
indecent.
sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have a defense. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Anyway, so I get in there and I'm rattled beyond belief at this point. I was like, I don't drink, but if I did, I would for sure be half a bottle of Jack in at this
Oh
point.
yeah. Definitely. That's
So that was my Black Panthers situation. Great
Andrew,
movie. The scenario was
apparently I had the best
the
movie
worst.
experience out of all of us.
Yeah, you did.
Because I got there 30 minutes before. I had I ended up having two people sit next to me. They're both perfectly kept to themselves. One person had their laptop out during the trailers, like I told you before, but he put it away, so I didn't have to murder him with his own laptop, which was nice. I like not having to murder people when I'm at the movies, but if I experienced anything that you had experienced, Andrew, I definitely would not have been able to do this podcast this week because I would have murdered them. I would have beaten them with their own popcorn bag. Have you ever seen someone get beat with popcorn bag? Because it's impossible. But
I was beaten with the popcorn bag. She was hitting me with popcorn the whole movie.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have been able to put up with anything that you dealt with. Like,
Honestly, I'm tempted to get a GoPro
I'm
to
rallied right
to
now,
go to
like-
movies and then sign like paperwork saying you can watch the footage and
Yeah.
delete the video from it. I just need to prove what happens to me with the people.
Yeah.
Because every time I go to the movies, it seems like people are just out to get me.
it sounds like a little bit too. Like, I
I need to track down the girl who sat beside me at Wonder Woman and
just
wouldn't
go
move.
with her all the time from now.
Yeah, and just be like, hey,
Because
listen,
it'll
I
be
know you
safer.
like geeky stuff. You want to go and just sit beside me to keep me safe, please? Thank you.
I think that's where we're
Grab my
learning.
leg as much as you want, but maybe don't.
You have to bring other people.
Please don't grab my leg, but punch people in the face for me.
Yeah, that sounds like the best solution, so that you don't run into any more of this trouble. Because, like, that's a lot of just garbage shit.
One
people.
movie.
Like,
It's not even like I
know.
spent the whole, like,
It was a
movie
short
after
movie,
movie.
too. It's a 2-hour. It's like one of the
Yeah.
shorter Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And you just had to deal
like
with
my,
so much. That was
like,
garbage.
I spent the whole movie doing this. From getting kicked and then popcorn.
Yeah,
then
see, especially
Sticky foot.
as you, I would have stood up in the middle of the theater and just stood. just stood.
Just leaned on the bar with my
Yeah.
ass, just
And just let
pointing at
everyone,
everyone's
especially
face.
because you're like close to the front, it's gonna fuck everyone's day up. And I'm like, this
Yep.
kid's kicking my seat. This one's throwing popcorn at me. How I was
And
one
the
who
floor
was
is sticky.
First, I know I'm a slightly larger gentleman, but guess what? They could have gone to any other row. The
They
front's
could have
open.
split their groups up.
They could have exactly. They could have split. You were all solo, right
It
in the
isn't
middle.
even practical to sit 8 people in a row anyway.
That's just
And
dumb. Why are you
I
going to
just
movies
want-
with 8 people? Why do you have 8 friends? I hate you.
Exactly.
You're not good friends
I
with
just-
all of them. Stop lying.
you don't need to sit in a straight line with 8 people in a movie theater.
You can't talk
ever.
to them all at the same time. You
Exactly.
can't hold hands with 8 people at the same time. You can't,
It's easier
you
in a
can't
group of
go
4.
skiing with 8 people at the same time. You dicks.
I just want to say to all our listeners out there, if you go to the movies and you decide to sit in a row where one person is sitting there in the middle and you think you have the right to ask him to move, die.
Die.
Fucking die.
Text.
I am not putting up with that anymore.
Or tag me, and I'll come, and I'll murder you for you. Because no! Stop it. I'm sick of it. Stupid people. Dumb people.
And then telling me to tuck it in. On that note, I think it's time that we tuck
I think
it.
we're done.
Yes,
Yeah.
We
yes.
tuck in.
Before we just
'Cause
keep
I-
ranting.
Before we really, really, really get off track.
Yes.
This is going to go back like 10 episodes plus. People out there, just be good people.
Be good people.
Go to the movies. Be good people.
Be good people, see good movies.
See good movies. Be good people. Don't tell me to tuck it in. Don't kick my seat. Don't throw popcorn on me. Don't kick your drink over. Give me $15 change.
don't star in your own goddamn movie.
Don't star in your own goddamn movie, and don't parkour outside dressed like Spider-Man if you're over the age of 7.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening this week. Thanks, Mike, for being on the show.
Bye.
Bye.